Bienvenidos y welcome to the Biz Bruja podcast, where we're claiming our powerful intuition, our sacred medicina, embracing our magic and healing ancestral patterns, invoke powerful creations in our own well-being, our lives, familias, community, and our businesses. Remembering that our businesses are so important at this time. I'm the creatrix of this blogcast, the Biz Bruja herself, Vanessa Codorniu, a modern-day bruja, fourth-generation psychic medium, clinical hypnotist, energy healer, and soul biz mentor and coach. An Argentine-American who started reading adults at 16, became a professional intuitive at 22, and now guides creatives, intuitives, healers, and entrepreneurs to break through fears, connect to the practical power of their intuition so they can serve the world powerfully. Hola, mi gente bella. Hello, beautiful people. If you are listening to the podcast, you don't see that I'm actually clearing the space with some white sage. It's a really important time to cleanse and clear. So let's take a moment as we begin this week's episode of the new moon in Pisces. Wherever you may be, just taking a deep cleansing breath in and calling back our energy, calling back our power, and then exhaling lo que no necesitamos and just releasing. All right, so energetically sending you out las buenas vibras de la limpieza, sending out the energy of healing and cleansing, porque las cosas están caliente, as you know. Or we may say están refrías, but either way, they're at extremes. And so we come to this new moon and we're invoking the powers of this new moon for intention setting, for clearing, for cleansing, almost as if our wellness depended on it. Y la verdad es que sí. So I took a few notes. I'm going to call them up right now because there is so much going on. I would say this is one of the positive new moons because sometimes you get a new moon where it's like, don't do any manifesting work, no hagan trabajo, quédense quieto, relax. But this time, this new moon aligns with so many other things. So before I go into that, we all know that right now for the next year and a half, right, till about what is it? Because it came in June 2025. So about yes, it came in January 2025. So about June 2026, we have the North Node in Pisces. We have the South Node in Virgo. They're affecting the whole world. And while the North Node is inviting us into faith over fear and is inviting us to trust our intuition, to remember that we're all one, a lot of what we're seeing on Earth isn't really like that. There's a lot of divisiveness, and perhaps through our suffering, we might unite and remember who we are. I'm not advocating suffering as a tool for that. I'm not saying that's the way it should be, but I was talking to a friend of mine who's Puerto Rican, and she's like, I do not understand qué es lo que pasa, with all this, with everything that's happening in the government, people restructured at her school where she works. A lot of federal workers have reached out to me. So there's a lot of distress. And I'm looking for what I said to her, I was like, I guess we have to be, aplastado, mamao, para ser transformado, and that's very Boricua. But it's like, maybe we have to go through a time, not all of us, but somehow the collective, right, has to go through a time where we start to realize that, I think it's Fanny Farmer said, if I'm not free, no one is free. And let me check on that because I don't want to make a mistake on that because it's a very important quote. So I'm going to check on that. All right, I looked it up because it's really important. Fannie Lou Harner said, in a speech called Nobody's Free Until Everybody's Free, she told the National Women's Political Caucus in Washington in 1971 that Black and white women had to work together toward freedom for all. And then Audre Lorde also said, I'm not free while any woman is unfree, right? even with her shackle, even if her shackles are very different from my own. I'm not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own, Audre Lorde. And so I didn't plan to quote that, but that's very much the energy of North Node to me in Pisces. Well, we have to remember that just because we're okay, it doesn't mean that we really are okay. We might be safer because of our economic situation, because of our skin color, because of our race, because of our language, because of the country we're in. But the truth is that we're all brothers and sisters. And having el nodo del norte in Pisces, having the North Node in Pisces, and now the new moon in Pisces coming in, and so much in Pisces, I bet a lot of us have felt confused, tired, maybe overwhelmed, maybe inspired. I personally have felt all of the above. I have felt inspirada, joyous, like, let's do it. It's showtime. Let's gather the people. Let's work together. And the other part of me is like, ay, Dios mío, estoy cansada. We've been done this. How many times do we have to? And the truth is, for many of us who incarnated to do this work, well, we're going to do it as many times as it takes. But we're going to take shifts, right? I think that I know myself, Esoteric Essa, and many other healers who are out here working really, really hard during the pandemic. And I was out here before then, but during the pandemic, we were really on it. And some people were resting. And then we pulled back a little bit, other people stepped in. And so it's important to know that all of our work is needed. And whether we are working with kids or teens, or whether we're healing our family, we all have a purpose. It does not mean that we have to carry a little tarjetita or a little business card that says, healer. We are healers as we live and breathe, as we send out the beautiful energy into the world that we want healing, that we want unity. And when we are able to manage the fear that is permeating the collective. Now, I think fear has always been here on the planet. When I talk to my guides, they've said to me, since we first incarnated on the planet, we knew that there would be death. And with death, there was fear because we also knew that, you could lose an arm, you could lose a leg, you get really sick. And back in the day, we didn't have penicillin and other things to heal us. Maybe we didn't know about garlic yet or the powers of salt to, cleanse a wound. The thing is that fear has been around as long as we've been incarnating. And the invitation to remember who we truly are has also been around since we've incarnated. However long we have on this Earth School planet called Madre Tierra, right, Pachamama, let's call out the fears, let's call out the doubts, las dudas, and then give each other the strength and the energy to continue moving forward. Because at the end of the day, we're sitting here and I'm speaking to you, and all of you are listening from wherever you are, de donde estén, because our ancestors, our abuelitos, our abuelitas, our tatara, and going back and back and back, they survived long enough to procreate. And then their children survived long enough to procreate. And here we are today. So we are made of resilient stuff. And this deep invitation of the next year and a half of the North Node, and we talked about this in another episode, which I can link here in case you're curious, is inviting us into connecting to the energy of unity and compassion and self-forgiveness and inspiration and spirit and the divine, at the same time making us aware and inviting us to look at where we've self-sacrificed, where we've martyred ourselves. We do not need to be martyrs in this new regime, okay? Government situations, we do not need to be martyrs. We have to stay awake. And this new moon that's happening Thursday, February 27th, 2025, is in Pisces, and it occurs at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time. And this lunation is offering a very potent opportunity for spiritual renewal, emotional healing, and creative inspiration. So if you've been feeling tired, if you've been feeling out of it, if you've been feeling like, ay, Dios mío, especially if you're in the Northeast and there's been snow and cold and cold and cold and more cold, y más frío, frizando las nalgas. That's what I've been saying. That's what we've been doing out here. Part of me always liked the seasons because then you get to celebrate each cycle. But I'm like, okay, tap, tap on the watch. It's too long now. It's just too long. It's been cold for too long. For you lucky folks who are not experiencing this, well, you are very lucky. and blessed. So this Thursday, the new moon in Pisces arrives, bringing with it a powerful opportunity for reflection, renewal, and deep spiritual alignment. The Pisces, los peces, it's like two fish kind of swimming around and around, is a water sign ruled by Neptune. So expect the new moon to offer a wave of heightened intuition, imagination, emotional clarity. Now, I'm going to put a little caveat in the emotional clarity. We have to remember that every sign and every planet and every phase has a spectrum, right? It's not just one thing. And so, while it is a new moon, which invites us to release what no longer serves and then to set intentions for the new. And so we should be sending, we don't have to, I don't want to should you. The invitation is to be setting intentions for renewal, for spiritual alignment, for deep wisdom, for healing. We also have to remember that Neptune and Pisces can also be the great escapists of the zodiac. And so we could be trying to escape our reality through TV, sex, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, the next course that we take, whatever it is, spending money, not spending money, worry. And so, yes, we're going to have heightened intuition available to us. And with heightened intuition, we really have to be aware that when we are a psychic sponge, una esponja psíquica, right, where we're picking up everything, at some point you got to squeeze that sponge out so you get the murky vibes of other people's emotions and our own that have already passed out of the way. Otherwise, we're bringing energy that's not ours or energy that already passed into present moment. And the most powerful moment that we can find is when we are here, when our energy is presently here, responding to what's happening here in the moment, not carrying everything from the past and stressing about the future. Now, I know that's easier said than done. And so it's really important to have some practices around that. And I'm going to share with you something that I have in mind for us coming in March that I hope interests you. We'll talk about that later. So, the new moon, right? It's coming in. That means the sky is dark. There is no moon. It is a time to, and I invite you to take a journal and just breathe and think, what are we releasing? Are we releasing sadness or worry? Are we releasing doubt over finances or stress about the country, whatever it may be, or health worries? And then setting intentions. What am I committing to for this new phase? Now, because this is the new moon in Pisces, for the next 6 months, the intentions that we plant are going to be developing, whether consciously or unconsciously. So remember that intention is everything. It's the perfect time to turn inward and connect with your subconscious, explore your dreams, and embrace the mystical energies that are available. Now, Pisces governs the realm of creativity, compassion, and healing. Also, film, video games to some degree, poetry, music, performing, creating, writing. So this lunation invites you to tune into your inner world and ask yourself where you might need emotional healing, release, or creative expression. Now, I think this is so important. I just taught a Improv Unleashed workshop in New York City. And I knew everybody there because they were either clients and or friends, right? People that I've known over the years. And it was incredible to see people who have very serious lives or are dealing with a lot jump in to just play and release. It's like we all got permission to play and then everybody just jumped in. And so we need more of those spaces. So if you're listening and if you live in New Jersey, Philly, DC, or Pennsylvania, New York, and you feel like you want to bring me to guide, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hour workshop at your job, at your nonprofit, or even with your friends and family, it is so much fun. That just came to me by the way. It just flowed to me. I didn't even think about it. But just reach out and let's discuss it because we have to create more of these spaces where we remember our creative power. Now, our creative power, we witness it through having children, through having a dream or wanting to buy a house, and then when we manifest it, some of us express it through decorating our home, etc., and the work that we do. But I find that so many of us adults over time, we overconnect. I mean, we have to survive and to thrive, right? Tenemos que hacerlo. We really, really define ourselves by our work and our everyday activities. And how could we not? The thing is, there's so many layers to us. We are deeply intuitive. We are loving. We have sensuality. We have creativity. And so making time, other than work and family, to tap into a new hobby, it would be so perfect for new moon in Pisces. Even if it's like a one-shot deal to just have an experience of something, right? Something new to take us out of our everyday. And so the energy in this new moon can help us dissolve old habits, old boundaries that kept us maybe small or stifled, whether they're mental or emotional or physical, right? Taking a chance on flowing. And it's also an amazing time for cleansing and purification, letting go of what no longer serves your highest good. So I started thinking before I got on here, I was like, you know what? I want to offer like a back to basics, um, like 2 hour class, right? And I'm like, what should I be? And I was thinking maybe it could be around the full moon in Virgo. But I decided that I'm actually going to offer it March 22nd. So March 22nd on Saturday from 1 to 3 Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to come online and we're going to do an egg limpia workshop. We're going to do cleansing in different ways with agua florida with water. We're going to talk about grounding, some shielding, and how to cleanse and purify our home. It's a 2 hour class. We'll be able to keep it, to download it, and keep it for your own good. I think we need to have a back to basics, especially with everything that's coming up. And this new moon in Pisces is reminding us to cleanse and clear before we set intentions, right? But this is something that we need to do all the time. A lot of us are empaths. Mucha de la gente que me escribe, a lot of people who write me or do sessions with me, we're highly intuitive. That's why we are aligned and we flow. And how do we deal with this collective energy, the worries and stuff within our own family, what we see in our community, and then our own personal challenges, because we have to tend to our self-care. And so this will be highlighted throughout. I thought March 22nd would give everybody time to be able to schedule themselves. And also, March 22nd comes after spring equinox. So it's new beginnings. So we will be doing cleansings and clearings on that day online. So we could do the huevo together. We could do all this. And we could learn how to do some of these new cleansings so it could become part of our regular practice. Because, I mean, it's needed as we grow in our spiritual path. It's needed as we develop our intuitive knowing. And it is crazy needed for everything that's happening. So keep that in mind, March 22nd, 1 to 3 Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to put the link in. So additionally, let's get back to the new moon, right? The new moon is a potent time to set intentions, especially those tied to forgiveness, to emotional growth, artistic endeavors, spiritual practices, self-compassion. This is the time to really root deeply in our belief system, but not the one that takes us into the land of denial. And it's that, you know, the old joke that it's not a river in Egypt. It's really about facing our stuff while still having hope, forgiving ourselves, radical self-compassion, and forgiveness. Now, when I talk about forgiveness, that doesn't mean that we have to force ourselves to forgive anyone. Pero podemos dar la intención, we can have the intention to say, you know what? I'm ready, willing, and able to begin to forgive them, to begin the work of forgiveness. A lot of people tell me, no, they're going to have to pay for the rest of their life, and they're very angry at whoever harmed them. The thing that I do in hypnosis work is that I invite you to forgive, because when we hold on to that energy of anger and upset, like I'm going to make you pay, we're actually reliving it and like harming ourselves. We can't force the process. But when we start to understand mentally that forgiveness is for us, that forgiveness allows us to release, to set ourselves free. Because at the end of the day, look, karma is going to bite somebody's booty for you. You don't have to sit there and sharpen your teeth, right? You can let it go, put it in the hands of God, put it in the hands of Pachamama, Mother Earth, and be like, let them learn their lessons, but not on my time. I need to have more joy in my life. And we have more joy by releasing people and releasing things. I've gone through a lot of things, including canceling a wedding. And in that canceling of the wedding, I mean, I lost a relationship of 6 years. I lost 3 stepkids. I lived with somebody. He cheated like 2 months before the wedding. And that really threw me back because I left Miami and Telemundo to come back to New York, right, to get married because he decided he didn't want to go to Florida. We were going to have a child. And then me canceling my wedding, I lost money, I didn't have a job, I lost my stepkids, I lost my love, I lost so much. But I forgave because I realized that, well, at least what I chose to believe and what I believe, that the universe saved me. The universe saved me. Everybody has their own situations, but I could have gotten married and then found out, right, when I was already pregnant. And then I'd be thanking, right, God for having the baby. But at the same time, that was my story. And so I chose to forgive because I needed to move on. I wanted to eventually fall in love again, which I did a couple of times before I found my husband. And so when we keep that block because we're afraid to get hurt again, they move on, they forget, they're like, whatevs. Yeah, I mean, they're apologetic, but then again, they move on. And then we're still the one holding on to the anchor at the bottom of the ocean, right? And it doesn't work. And when we start to allow forgiveness to flow through our being, we shake up and loosen up and call back the energy that we've been using to keep that anger and that upset in. So it's not they're getting off easy. We're allowing ourselves to recreate ourselves, to live, to be inspired, para poder crecer. And they will deal with their stuff on their own time. We are not their jail warden. We are not their karma police. Somebody else out there's got to do that. We're here to live our own lives, our own feelings, our own dreams. And so trust the flow of intuition that comes naturally during this time. Allow yourself to do some journal writing around forgiveness. Who are you ready to let go? Who are you ready to understand that maybe they did the best they could and maybe that it wasn't the best and you deserved more, but at the same time, you are ready to begin doing forgiveness work, right? And so the flow of intuition is going to come more naturally. It's a time to cosmically reset, to manifest our dreams, whether through meditation, through journaling, or simply connecting with nature. You know, nature can be very underrated when nature is everything. Our ancestors, our indigenous ancestors, whatever country they came from and place and continent, that's where their connection to the divine came from the sea and the air and the wind and the fire. And that's where we need to return to breathe air and fill our lungs and feel our feet on the earth and ask Mother Earth, Pachamama, to fill us up with new restored energy, with courage, with strength. And so be mindful because with Pisces, dreamy and sometimes elusive energy, sometimes it's really mysterious. We can get lost in fantasy, which I talked about earlier, and overly idealistic, right? Like, no, I don't want to look at the fact that that person's cheating on me. They're just hurt. Well, how long are we going to live in potential, my sister? Okay. Hermana mía, querida mía, like when do we like delineate boundaries and say, that's it. No more dating people who I have to kind of work on them or help them, right? Now, that doesn't mean that when we're dating or we're falling in love or whatever it is, or a business, that we don't have to work on it. But I do firmly believe through dating so much, I've dated a lot, so many times and had a lot of people propose to me. And then, you know, one canceled wedding and then finally one wedding that I hope lasts forever. Um, that we are taught as women, as Latinas, as BIPOC, as white women, as women across the board to cater, especially if it's a cisgendered relationship and it's men. But even when it's women with women, sometimes there is one woman who is so overgiving and waiting for the other person to grow up. And the thing is this, let's choose people, and I'm talking about love for a reason. Let's choose people that are already working on themselves and that have the most important things that we need, right? Like I chose a partner that was in therapy to work on the fact that they cheated in the past and they had cheated and this is what has been passed down in their family. And I thought, oh, that's so good. He's working on himself. Yeah, I got a good one. What I learned from that relationship when he cheated, when he freaked right before a wedding, was that I want someone who already believes in like being really honest and clear. And if they no longer want to be monogamous, that they would talk to me about it. And then we could end our relationship if need be or adapt, right? And so make sure that you have standards, that you have, you know, honesty, clarity, loyalty, whatever it is to you. I'm not saying that's for you. Great conversation, whatever it is, great sex, passion. And I talk about that because we're about to go Venus in Aries in retrograde March 2nd. So I'll probably talk about that in another episode. But Venus is how we love. It's the love, it's the what we value and how we love. Because it's going to be in Aries, it's going to be intense and it's going to be passionate, and then it's in retrograde. So we're going to be invited to review our love relationships, how we love, are we overgiving, are we undergiving, all of that between March 2nd to April 12th. And so that's why I was talking about love, because new moon in Pisces is romantic and dreamy, and it happens on the 27th, and then in unos días, in a couple of days, boom, we have Venus in Aries. Now, we also have other astrological aspects right now. Mars finally went direct. Mars is the archetype of energy, sometimes aggression, and it's been retrograde. Now it's going direct in Cancer, in a water sign. And so during this new moon in Pisces, the moon's placement in Pisces enhances, right? Like what we said, imagination, intuition, sensitivity. It's an ideal time for meditation and to connect to our inner self. We know this. Mercury, which represents the mind and how we process mentally, right? How it works, is in Pisces, trine Uranus and Taurus, right? So it's a harmonious aspect. It's going to foster innovative thinking and intuitive insights. So get some time in, light tu velita, your candle, get your little glass of water or a little flower, or maybe none of them. Maybe you don't have any of it. It's okay. You don't have to wait. But sit there and take a breath, because when Mercury's in Pisces, there's a lot of messages that come through dreams or through intentional journaling, automatic writing, and seeking of wisdom from our inner self. So it's a very favorable period for embracing new ideas and unconventional solutions. Now, thankfully, there's no major oppositions right now, but you know how everything's always shifting in the sky. So, themes to explore, if I haven't said it enough: spiritual growth, deepen your practices, maybe take my class to review Las Limpias and grounding. That's going to be March 22nd. Creative expression, take your time. Maybe start a creative project. Try a hobby, even if it's for one night. If you haven't done karaoke in a long time and you used to love it, go out with your friends. We need our family, we need our work. We also need sometimes to let our hair down, right? And sometimes you need to put it half up. But anyway, yeah, because half of my hair is up. I don't usually do this. But we need to allow ourselves to be creative, to play, to laugh, to restore some of the energy that our adulting is taking away from us. Because I mean, major adulting ahead, okay? Emotional healing. It's a great time for emotional healing. Get your therapy on if you haven't. Um, Take healing baths and showers where you're like, I release what no longer serves, right? And so, as this new moon in Pisces encourages us to trust our intuition and embrace the flow of life, consider setting these intentions that are going to align with your deepest desires. I know that people have reached out to me and they're like, Vanessa, I'm afraid to have big dreams right now, girl. And I'm like, I know, I feel it. They're like, I'm afraid to have big dreams because so much is happening in the world, almost feeling kind of guilty that we're having big dreams. The thing is, the North Node in Pisces is inviting us to have big dreams. The new moon in Pisces is allowing us, inviting us, encouraging us to flow. And you know, what's a big dream for one person isn't necessarily a big dream for another. Un sueño muy grande is to have a beautiful family reunion, right? A big dream is to have a baby. It could be to finally write your book, even if it's for yourself. However it is, to start working out, to eat better, whatever it is, don't let your dreams um, go untended to or unnurtured just because your mind is judging them, right? Your mind is judging them. Oh, they're not a big enough dream. It doesn't matter. Si es un sueño para ti, es un sueño que vale la pena amarlo, besarlo, cuidarlo, nutrirlo, to give it nourishment and nutrition. I wanted to shout out the necklace that I'm wearing because I'm just noticing again that I am wearing it. It is an amazing creation. Let me get her name right because I hate it when people chop up my name. And I'm like, you know. So let me get her name right. Okay, so Sol Munoz of Soul Raised Jewelry. And this is a chrysoprase, which it attracts, helps heal the heart, attracts abundance and prosperity. I got it last year, but I'm wearing it and I really love it. just kind of shouting her out because she's also a small business and a Latina, and I wanted to give that out. And so set the intentions. Love you, soul. Set the intentions for yourself for new moon. Porque as we enter into Mars, okay? March is also the home of two eclipses. And we'll talk about that more in the future. So we got to just handle the new moon right now in Pisces, but be aware that eclipses are coming in. And when eclipses come in into the month, it means it brings like a change. Illuminación, something fast that comes in and shifts. The first eclipse will be March 13th, right? The second one will be March 29th. So there will be two eclipses coming in March. So hold on to yourselves. No, I'm kidding. So pay attention, cleanse, set your priorities, y siempre a limpiar, a limpiar, a limpiar. We don't want like as Latina mothers everywhere, like la mugre, right? But I'm thinking la mugre del alma. Let's not let like our energetic, you know, grime and in and out of every day, todos los días, like land on our chakras, land on our soul. I know it's not easy. Everybody that I'm talking to, it is not an easy time, but allow yourself to find comfort in flow and intuition, in the knowing that no hay mal que dure 100 años. You know what I mean? Y que tenemos que seguir adelante. We have to keep going, and taking care of ourselves is top priority. So brush up on the basics, get that energy going, drink that water because new moon in Pisces is all about agua, and know that you're not alone. Remember that your guides, your angels, your well and wise ancestors are with you. And if you have any questions or any feedback around the session that we had today on this episode, let me know. Mandándole mucho amor, mandándole mucha inspiración. And I know, and I hold a strong vision for us all of a healed planet. We got to just keep going. You know, we kind of said, I'll go down there during this time, whether we remember it or not. We've got soul amnesia. You know what I mean? Tenemos la amnesia del alma. We're like, I'll go down. We thought it was going to be fun. And it is. Go down, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Well, we're here. We're on Madre Tierra. We are manifesting, creating, enjoying. And there are going to be ups and downs, but we're going to keep flowing together, okay? Mucho amor. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye, loves.